Hello, beloved. This is Lisa, and I just wanted to beam in with a little personal video to see how you're doing with the level of change that is happening in the world right now. It's just really at an unprecedented level, environmentally, politically, socially, economically. And then there's all the changes that we're dealing with in our feminine bodies, right? Whether you're busy mothering and taking care of children, or you're mothering your career, the level of change that's happening for many of us professionally, or maybe you're dealing with the change, perimenopause, menopause, your midlife rebirthing, and all of the symptoms and the radical shift that happens during that time of life, or aging as you're stepping into your wise woman years. There's so much that we're grappling with, dealing with aging parents, dealing with changing relationships, a lot of shift happening. And now it's hard enough to navigate all of the changes in our own reality, let alone in the yoga of relationship with others. So I really want to invite you to a resource, which is yourself and your Shakti, right? Because we absolutely have to, more than ever, find those inner resources so that we can deal with the level of change that's happening right now. So how do we stay open-hearted? How do we stay in our commitment to be love in the face of all that is happening, all that is breaking our hearts open? Right? How do we stay grounded and resourced in our own intuitive guidance system, right? So that we know how to navigate. We know what the right answer is for us. How do we find some solace, some peace, a place to rest with the level of chaos that's out there if we don't have access to some really strong spiritual practices and connection to our own soul self, right? Our consciousness, if you will, something other than that crazy fear-talking monkey mind, right? That tells us that we need to be resisting change, or that it shouldn't be like this, right? And where do we go to find the energy to cope with all that's going on right now in our bodies? How do we take care of these bodies? Well, what I want you to know is that inside of these Shakti wisdom teachers, you will find those resources, right? So that you can deal with the places where you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed or unsure of where to go. And when you feel totally depleted, right, you'll have access to your sacred sensual energy, to pleasure, to the eros that is you, so that you can fill yourself up again, right? So that you're able to better meet the situation at hand, whatever that might be for you right now, with a sense of really being in your center and really being resourced, and having access to the energy, the love, and the inner guidance that we all really must have right now in order to cope with what's going on in this VUCA world. Maybe you've heard this acronym. It stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, right? That's a lot of what we're dealing with in terms of change, right? It's what's on the menu right now, pretty much for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I want to offer you a resource for dealing with this change. It's a masterclass that I'm offering next Friday. It's free, and it's called Finding Your Center in the Midst of Change, Using the Wisdom of Shakti. I've been deeply pondering these questions about how do we cope with change, and I have something that I think is really going to make a difference for you. It'll be worth your time, I promise, and really give you access to some practical tips and reliable ways to access your Shakti to deal with all that you're dealing with. I hope you'll join me. There's a link here in the message.